listen, I'm accountable. I'm accountable to the fans. Everybody's accountable. The players are accountable on the field for their positions. Everybody has to be held accountable and realize there's no place to hide.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. On January 2nd, 2024, the first show of the new year. That clapping you hear is coming from our guy Dennis Cox. He's producing the show. That intro comment about accountability comes from Panthers owner David Tepper, which is ironic because he's on video throwing a drink at fans, and that took place on Sunday.
Down in Jacksonville, for those who don't know.
In Jacksonville. And it looked like he was throwing it on Jacksonville fans wearing Jacksonville jerseys, but, we don't know where he was aiming. He is a member of the Panthers organization. He may have been trying to throw it away. But we haven't heard anything. Accountability. It took place on Sunday, and we haven't heard anything. It's not really accountable. It's not holding yourself accountable. And it's kind of frustrating because we've seen so much good sports over the last week. There's been awesome NHL performances. We've seen some really, really good ones from the Canes, specifically Sebastian Aho. We've seen some really, really fun college football. We've seen
last night. Yeah.
We've seen some really, really fun and exciting college basketball. We've seen other NFL teams play very, very well. And the thing we get to lead off talking about when it comes to the Carolina Panthers is the owner throwing a drink on an opposing team's fan. That's if that's not the 2023 Carolina Panthers, I don't know what is. And I hope they left it in 2023. Just about everything. I hope they left their offensive production in 2023, their owner's shenanigans in 2023, the bad trade decisions in 2023. It's all fresh here. It's all fresh. Like somebody that's getting in shape today who on last Friday ate their weight in cheese because they're like, hey, I'll start in the new year. I hope the Panthers got everything out of the way in 2023. I don't think anything of substance is going to come out of David Tepper throwing the drink. Meaning I don't think there's going to be, a suspension. Definitely not any kind of removal. There'll be a fine.
What good's a suspension going to do?
What good is a fine going to do? What it does, though, it informs everyone more and more about the kind of person David Tepper is and how big of a problem that is proving to be. First, the game wasn't fun. Let's get that out of the way. I can see why an owner would be in a drink-throwing mood during a game like that. You're getting shut out for the first time since 2002. Your rookie quarterback is appearing to take steps back. Your offensive line can't do anything. The high-priced free agents you bought this offseason aren't even on the field. Hayden Hurst hurt out with the concussion problems. Miles Sanders, by choice, not on the field very often. Like there's reason to be frustrated. You just can't do it. For the reasons it's frustrating, here's interim head coach Chris Tabor.
I'm disappointed, obviously, and that's a pretty generic answer. Did not see it coming. I will tip my hat to the Jaguars. The way we were trending, I did not see this performance coming down. I didn't. It kind of goes back to the first drive deal, whether you wanted to kick maybe a possible field goal there with a backup or with your offense, the way we were moving the ball, and I'm kind of thinking about how we finished the Green Bay game and all those things. I just had a lot of confidence in those guys and doing that, so we never got on track. We talked a lot about starting fast this week and did not do that. We got one more opportunity. I talk to the guys a lot about really, it's going to boil down to, and you talk about, the shutout and those things. I get that. How are you going to deal with it?
How are you going to deal with it? Well, the owner dealt with it by throwing a drink. Players deal with it better than that. Coaches deal with it much better than that. In 2009, Titans owner Bud Adams issued an apology the day after flipping off Bills fans. Flipped him off, old school. He was also fined $250,000 by the NFL.
Okay.
There was no apology the day after by Tepper.
Nope.
I expect the fine to be at least double.
Yeah.
There's throwing a drink is worse than flipping the bird.
Yeah.
The NFL will fine him. I don't think there's an amount of money that they could possibly fine him that will make a 20-plus billionaire sweat. So it's just move on with life. However, this is bad for the Panthers because of what it shows Tepper is. He has thin skin. Thin skin is a problem for an owner. In many cases, even when you make the right decision, it gets worse before it gets better. Right? You hire a coach who's the right guy to change culture, and the first thing he has to do is trim fat. The first thing he has to do is, metaphorically kill a hostage, right? He has to set his culture in a way. He has to take the time to acquire the type of people he wants to have in his locker room, both coaches and players. And if you are thin-skinned, during that dip, you're going to panic because you're going to hear people saying, oh, they're bad, and you're going to panic, or you're going to snap. Or you're going to, metaphorically throw the drink. 2, who wants to work for David Tepper? Who wants to work for that guy? The drink thrower. If he does that in public to fans, when by the way, everybody knows. You know it, I know it, Dennis knows it, your best friend knows it, your parents know it. There are phone cameras everywhere. If you're doing that in public to fans, when you know there's cameras everywhere, how in the heck do you treat people when the doors are shut? Go back and watch the video if you haven't seen it. If you've already seen it, go back and watch it for the first time if you haven't seen it. To the right of Tepper when he throws the drink is Scott Fitterer. He's the GM of the Panthers. The guy is a statue in the video. You might even think like there's like trickery going on. He's so stationary and emotionless. Think of how you've ever reacted, or hopefully you haven't been in this decision or this position. Think of how you ever would react if one of your coworkers threw a drink at somebody. Even if you're not one to get involved, right? Even if you're not one to run over there and go, what are you doing? Not one to run over there and break it up. Your eyebrows are going to go up. You're going to look. You're going to look for someone to talk to, right? You're going to, hey, did you see what happened there? Stone cold. The guy did not move. What has he seen Tepper do? Because the only way I don't get surprised if somebody throws a drink is if I've seen him like flip a table multiple times. If I've seen him throw a chair. If I've seen him break something. What has he done? And who wants to work for that guy? And lastly, it shows how little David Tepper understands of how the NFL works. The arguments are constantly between ownership and players, ownership and fans, ownership and everybody. The best owners just disappear. And I'm not saying literally. I'm saying like they're just not heard from. They have their occasional media availability where they answer questions very bland, and then they go about their business. You have to know this cannot happen if you are the owner. If you want to do the owner's box and you're on the road and you have the suite and you have the food and you have the high rollers and hobnobbers with you up there in the suite, you have to know you can't throw a drink on somebody. That the NFL is the most popular thing out right now. Turning in numbers that every other team would faint if they got that type of rating. Nothing goes through the cracks. This is an issue for the Panthers. David Tepper is an issue for the Panthers. And it's not in the NFL's interest to fix it for the Panthers. So they're just going to fine him. They'll move on. They're going to fine him. He'll issue a statement, and they're going to move on. And the last problem with this, you have to address it before the players get to go into a microphone. Mm-hmm. When media availability becomes a thing and the players have to talk, you have to address it. Statement, a presser, talk to a reporter, something, just so the players can say, Tepper issued a statement. That's all we're going to say about it. Instead, now they're going to come up with an answer. Right? If you don't say anything, they're going to have to say, well, I didn't see it. We're all frustrated, and so it's tough, and blah, 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 blah. And that's about the best they could do. Blah, 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 blah.
Just about.
It's such a it's such a Mad Lib situation.
Yeah, it kind of is.
On Sunday, fill in the blank, Panthers owner threw a blank drink at a Jaguars fan. What do you got for us?
Well, I was just going to say, if he did that in public at the wrong place where there's no barrier where he's in his suite and the fans below him, dude, You're catching hands.
You hit the wrong person
You
at the
you
right
are,
time
you are
with
catching
a
hands.
drink.
Simple as that.